I'm not too sure if we should start. Do we have? I think there should be another one, isn't there? Or not? Just pass it around then. So, hey guys, what is going on? I am Winston13. I do Let's Plays on YouTube like only maybe 4 or 5 other people on the planet. But we are pretty much just making this panel specifically for sort of a Q&A for a lot of people. Because there's a lot of people that love watching Let's Plays. They want to see how they're made, how they're done. And so we got a couple of us that all sort of LP together and / have our own stuff going on. So we are just going to open the floor just to sort of introduce ourselves. So like I said, I'm Winston13. I do a lot of RPG Let's Plays and stuff like that. Quite like myself some JRPGs.
I'm JaxeTheBard. I'm new to this crew. Oh, hi guys. The LPs that I've done are, volleyball, beach games, food, stuff, I guess. It's pretty good. Cooking Mama, one of those, yeah. And volleyball. I don't know if I said volleyball beach, booby bouncing, dating sims. We were really good at that. Anyway, JaxeTheBard, that's me. You'll see a bunch of other stuff come out for me. Oh, it's great. Oh, right now I like.
All right. I go by Zeromaster. I have several different Let's Play shows. There's my own, which is Zero Plays, which is just me doing stuff by myself. The main thing I do now though is a show called Power Plays, where it's me and somebody else, usually this guy, or other people that I have, like my brother, my friend Casey, Poodle Prince. And I have a new show we started called Terror Time, where we play horror games, but we all sit on the same couch, and the one playing is sitting in the middle, and it's been a good time. So, we mostly all have the roles. But of course, I'm the creeper. Brad's the one doing all the jump scares, and Casey is the one shrieking. So that's kind of how that ends up. But yeah, before we get into the Q&A stuff, this time I brought some equipment with me because a really common question I get is, how do I hook it up? What equipment do I get? How do I press the record button? Well, I brought some of that stuff with me, so if you guys want to get an example of how you can have different setups, we'll go ahead and show that off. But I think I'll pass this back to my main man.
Alrighty then, so I guess at this moment in time, do you want to start taking questions? Is there anything else we need to talk about? All right, yeah. So let's start off with some questions. Does anybody in the audience just stick your hand up or whatever? All right, I got you. Yeah, awesome hair by the way.
What is the way to promote one's channel?
Oh, promoting one's channel, like I only have about 1,000-ish subscribers on the Let's Play channel. And it's just sort of like, from what it is now, because it's a very saturated market when you're like starting out and everything like that, it really just comes down to word of mouth and like sharing on social media. Like, you never want to say, I'm going to post my video to Reddit and let them eat me alive. But at the same time, there are some people that watch, they'll criticize, but they'll also be like, hey, this is interesting. Because a lot of people don't just surf the web anymore for like a Let's Play of, like you were saying earlier, Dead or Alive, Extreme Beach Volleyball. There's so many of them that trying to find someone new, that they just click on the one that has like 1 million views on it or whatever. So if you're trying to promote yourself, you gotta use social medias, you gotta use things like Twitter, Facebook, and everything like that. Everything's integrated with YouTube now, which is super cool. Back when I started, we had none of that. It was just sort of like, hopefully the algorithms match up, or the copyright people don't get after you for whatever reason it was. Like, we have ways of actually, promoting ourselves now more than that. And yeah, no, like I said, Reddit seems to be what I was able to do. Like when I started my Undertale, because I know there's so many people that are doing Undertale, I just sort of posted my first episode saying that I was doing a blind run. I know I'm late to the party, but hell, let's get it started. And I got a great response, and I've actually been gaining almost probably about 30 subscribers in the last little while, and I just started back up again. So that's pretty good. You guys have anything to add?
Your friends are your friends. Like, if you're doing Let's Plays, your friends are going to be ultimately the ones who are your most based audience. So always just do your Let's Plays for your friends, and if it gets bigger after you do it on social media and things like that, I mean, it'll just spark after. So always do it for your friends first, let it spark after.
And have fun. Like, if you're not having a good time, no one's gonna have a good time. So, yeah, I mean, there's been times like I did recently. I did Cut Mario Mossy for the first time we were playing it, and Casey, who I did it with, she's super familiar. She's won a competition at this convention for it years ago. Like, and so, of course, I was getting a little saucy. She's like, okay, stop it. I'm like, all right, I'll stop. And then I started getting good. So that's how it goes. Do we have any other questions?
They don't always do everything.
Well, I use Fraps sometimes, but now that I got this HDPVR rocket, I don't even have to use any software. I just plug my monitor into this. It records to a USB stick, and I have no lag if I'm recording something on the PC, which is nice. It's tiny, kind of snack. But Fraps is really good if you've got a strong enough PC to support your video that you want. I don't have as much experience with that for streaming.
I at first I used Fraps quite a lot. It's a really solid, like if you want like high definition, like holy crap, like super screen capturing, it's good. However, I find that certain games, like Undertale for example, because the game requires shutdowns and ups and downs and everything like that, a lot of the times that like you can hardly remove like the frame rate counter and other things, and it never meshes well. What I've personally been using recently is I've been sort of using XSplit for a really long time. It allows me not to only to record footage but also stream as well. It is a little costly now. The only reason why I have continued to support it and use it is because I was there way back when it started up and all that. OBS works quite well as well. It's the free broadcasting firmware for your computer and stuff like that. And you can do all-in-one stuff. So instead of having a separate channel for audio, a separate channel for video, and then having to edit it later together, you can actually use the software itself to sort of piece it together, to sort of simplify. Obviously, when you look at some of the higher people like Markiplier and the Game Grumps and stuff, like they have studios that they just dedicate to the stuff. And yeah, for just the average guy that's just going and doing his own thing and wanting to sort of post videos for his friends and other people on the internet, it's just fine to find something that's quick and easy, so you don't have to put as much video processing into it. Because every time we do something that is a 15-minute video, most of the time for me, that means about 40 minutes of editing, processing, and all that. So a 15-minute video is really an hour's worth of work every day. And finding the time for that is pretty hard. So if you just waited to cut corners, you try to find them and without like dipping in quality where it looks like your footage comes up upside down and all that type of stuff. But for the editing side, I use Sony Vegas for like my title cards and all that. A lot of people use Adobe Premiere and all that. And you know what? Windows Movie Maker or Windows like Live Video or whatever it's called now, it's passable. It was way better back like in Windows 7 days and all that. It's gotten weird, and unfortunately I'm not very aware of the Mac stuff. I haven't had Macs before.
Just a little add-on, like Casey uses iMovie, but software like iMovie and Windows Live Movie Maker, it's very basic. So if you're not planning to add anything on top of it, just straight up video commentary, cool. Use that. If you want to get a little more complicated, Sony Vegas, Adobe Premiere. Adobe Premiere 2 is free. The full version is free now. It's old, but it works. A lot of people, if you've got a Mac, Final Cut Pro, but that's expensive. So unless you've got tons of money, I would stick with like Premiere, Vegas, that kind of stuff.
What do I do? Oh God, I give my video to him. He edits it and says I used some software, and I say, hey, that's cool. I might use that for when I do things on my own. Thanks, bud.
What was the other thing? The good thing is now I know at least the Adobe side, is it's super expensive. However, when you buy it, like now you don't just get Premiere, you get Photoshop, you get Elements and After Effects. So if you really want to dart up your Let's Plays with slide-ins, like I think Chugga Conroy does it, where he has like the slide-ins and it shows Pokemon, when he does a Pokemon Let's Play and all that. It's sort of that alternative. You may be paying $500, $600 because you know they like to charge tons of money. But at the same time, you're getting like a tool base. And you know what? YouTube's so big now, you can get so many like tips and tool tips like on the web as well for this type of stuff.
Just before your question, if you're gonna get Adobe, I'm just gonna warn you right now, that thing is really good to make movies and awesome editing software. If you're gonna make a Let's Play, you're probably not making the high quality, great stuff with Adobe, so don't pay that much money for a software you're gonna use to make Let's Plays. It's really not worth it. Question over there.
Yeah. Specifically for Zero, that little device, you said that it just records your gameplay through like USB.
Oh yes, I was going to get into that. This is the HD PVR rocket from Hopog. Hopog's known for making high quality capture cards. What's nice about this and another one called the Aver Media Lab Recordable is you don't need a PC to use these. You can, but you don't need a PC. Literally, and I guess I could show this now. I brought a bunch of my equipment with me. Fortunately, there is a limit. Like you have 32 gigabytes is the actually good using a USB stick. You can't put a hard drive into it. So you just literally plug it in there. And then you've got your HDMI in, your HDMI out. So if you want to record newer consoles, PC, stuff like that, it's really useful. The only problem with this is you can't see what's happening when you're recording. So if it's not recording and it says it is, you have no idea. So the other thing too is they also come with a dongle. It's in there somewhere. For PS3, because it has HDCP and you cannot turn it off. Or for older consoles like Wii, yeah, this little dongle you can use to plug component cable into it, and then you can also capture those as well. So I have a modded Wii, so whenever I want to play something retro, I just use that. Because it's rather than using an RGB modded weird Super Nintendo or something, I'm just like, I already own the games, I don't care if I'm using half the Let's Play community is using emulators anyway, so why not? I mean, totally legit.
Games that are like $700 now.
Totally legit software. But yeah, this one also works if you have the Hopog software, so you plug it into your computer and use it that way as well. But you can just, I literally plug this into a socket, plug a thing into it, press a button, and it's easy. And that's how it's gotten a lot of people who, because I'm doing shows where I'm recording with a bunch of people, having like a computer set up, you're like, all right, let me make sure this is working, whatever. This has been really useful. As is this. This is the Samsung Meteor mic. This is my travel mic. It's a condenser mic that costs $70. It's a super cheap mic, and it will go on its own stand, as it is here, but it's tiny. You can just plop it there, plug it in, and worry about the audio editing later. So I have a super simple setup so that when I have people who want to be on, I want to be on your Let's Play show, I don't have to spend 40 minutes setting everything up, and I don't have to bring a big PC with me just to record stuff. So, because sometimes these things will take tons of processing power. You need to have a decent computer to use capture card, especially if it's a high def one. So to have the ability to just plug it in and hit record and then worry about it later is so much more useful. And this one actually, you can plug in your own audio as well, but I prefer not to because I like to have the audio separate and then sync it up later in editing. So
That actually answers my second question. When you actually make your video, the video feed, the audio and you just sync together.
this computer is a $200 netbook I bought literally just to record audio for this. Because I was tired of using a 17-inch laptop for everything. And this doesn't need a PC at all, so like I just button, bam, it's going.
You said that like the socket?
Yeah, it's called the HDPVR rocket.
Yeah. You said that record audio as well, so you can just do everything off that?
Oh yeah, if you want to just do everything, it's got an audio in jack. Unfortunately, it doesn't have USB audio. You're gonna have to use the 2.5 millimeter. But if you already have a microphone that is that, which most standard microphones come like that, it will work. And you can actually, there's like a touch button on here where you can like touch how high you want the audio, or if you want to mute the mic and all that stuff. It's It's a very useful thing. I personally don't use the audio recording in it because I like to keep it separate, but if you want it all in one, just something simple, then there you go. That's where to answer your question, Kevin?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Thanks.
Just to say as well, whenever you're recording audio and video, we suggest to actually record your audio separately from your video, just because if you do use that with the audio injected in with the mic, it's going to be hard to maybe fix what your voice sounds like in case, like maybe there's a background noise or anything. It makes it a bit more difficult. So try recording your voice separate from your game feed.
Yeah, just to sort of like give an example of that, like in my apartment, I have giant bay windows and there's no balcony, so I have to have an air conditioner on, or we just cook while we're doing it. So I have to have the air conditioner on, and unfortunately, it's that low bellowing noise that's in the background. Yeah, exactly. So like what we do is we just sort of like sit there in silence super awkwardly, you know, and we get all that, and then we're able to remove it. Like we use Audacity for most of our audio recordings. I hope like most of you know about that program now. It's super free. It has so many good options in it. Super free. Like I mean, silly free. Ultra free. Some people are like, oh, it's $20. Like no, it's not. You're completely blowing it out your thing. But regardless, yeah, no, like Jack says, it's one of those things where sometimes I get lazy and I know how to set my volumes, but that's me going for like 20 minutes going, hit record on local play, doing a small little bit of something and then saying, oh, is that better? And then I have to play it on my computer and then I pop it onto my TV as well, because sometimes the audio balances via your speakers versus your actual like when you're watching it on a TV or a tablet or anything like that, it's completely different because it sometimes records in surround or whatever. It's super odd sometimes. So that's why I never trust like devices to do my vocals. I'll trust them to do the game audio because that's just part of the course because it's going mostly through HDMI at this point. But yeah, no, when it comes to getting my voice, and like Jack says, you just get so much more tweaking when it comes to it. All right, another question, I guess. Lady in the front.
As Let's Players, do you find it more comfortable to do like your own and just kind of stay what's on your mind, or do you find it easier to have somebody play off?
It's a mixed bag, actually. For me personally, I like to have sort of a mixture of both, because like your personality is what sells, right? And when you have, this is just my own opinion, when you have too many people, like when it's 2 people because you're friends, you're able to bounce off of each other, it's great. But when you have like 4 or 5 or 6 people in the room together, things get drowned out. And it's sort of like the idea that I'm an entertainer. So I'm putting the video on not just for myself and for my friends, but I'm entertaining, I'm putting it on the internet for people to see, right? So people will come for my personality. They don't want to just sit there and listen to a bunch of friends stick around in the game where nothing happens for X number. Like, the reason why things like the Game Grumps are good is because they do play off of each other. Though, if you actually are there for the gameplay when it comes to the Game Grumps, you realize very quickly that they just run around in circles for like it's a 10-minute part and Aaron's telling a great story or Danny's telling a great story, but you're seeing Mario run around in a circle doing nothing. So it's sort of like when you're playing by yourself, you're able to focus and just sort of focus on the game, whereas with another person, I prefer one person's there watching, and then either we're jumping back and forth, or we're doing the verses or something like that. So it gets under the skin. Like when we're talking about Dead or Alive Extreme with Jax over here, it's like he's never played these games before. I have, so I'm letting him play, and he's just experiencing it for the first time, and I can goad him on to do stuff and all that. Or he asks me a question, and I just sort of stare at him until he's like, "Oh God, what's happening?"
The best part is he's a lore master, and I'm not gonna ruin the game, but it has lore. Beach volleyball has a story, and he knows it really well.
Because that's what I care about most when playing games.
I learned things.
For me, I started doing solo LPs, and my new show Power Plays I do in a group. It's really different. Like when I'm doing Power Plays, I let this thing go for like 2 hours, and I let the audio go for 2 hours. I'll maybe put cues in for me or for whoever ends up editing the video, just because that's easier. For myself though, I'm usually using my best mic, which I have a Blue Yeti. It's like right here, it's on like my professional stand with a pop filter, usually right in front of my machine. And I'm doing I like to do 15-minute parts, maybe go a little more if something's going on. Like for example, right now, it's kind of on hold, but it's kind of not. I'm doing Pokemon Soul Silver. And whereas with when I'm doing power plays, I don't stop until we want to take a break. I stop every 15 minutes and then start up the next episode because I want to make sure everything's working properly. So it really depends on what you want to do. So I've been doing it for a while, so I'm used to just talking. Like it's hard, it's weird because you're like talking to no one, but to somebody who's eventually going to see the video. So you gotta think of things to talk about. Whereas with with the other show, it's always building off each other. So I don't always tell stories though, to do sometimes, but I find like it's really what works best for you. So yeah, that's really all I got. I'm not very good at these things.
Oh, quiet you. I'm a professional.
Ding, bang, all right. But yeah, there's nothing else I can really add when it comes to that. Yeah, no, you just sort of get used to talking to yourself. The only thing that I usually suggest is just say like you get a new game, like Overwatch just came out, right? So just start like commenting on what you're doing, like just in your own spare time. I mean, maybe your parents or your roommates are gonna be like, okay, what the hell is going on? But at the same time, it gets you sort of into the flow. Like when I do RPGs, what I usually do is like I have some voice acting background and stuff like that. So I like to put on voices. Like as in Undertale, I'm doing I'm doing Papyrus. And it's just really, really fun, right? You just sort of get into it, and it's entertaining for you, it's entertaining for your audience too, because, you know, sometimes it gets boring when it's just like, all right guys, hi, welcome back to 180 parts of Legend of Dragoon. Today we're gonna get darts to fight some monsters. You know, and like you want to give as much energy as possible, and you need to sometimes be in the right mindset to do it too, because like Zero said, you're talking to yourself, but you're talking to an audience that is going to see you at some point. Exactly. Any other questions? All right, back there.
This is kind of more for, sorry, I forgot your name.
Winston.
Winston? Because I know you mentioned that you're streaming as well.
Yep.
Do you find that kind of the mindset of streaming versus recording a video, like, do you find that you have a different mindset, or do you go into both of them kind of the same?
Oh, it's one of those things when you start your live stream, it is very much because like it takes a while for you to get like people to realize that you're streaming and stuff like that. So you sort of start out like a Let's Play, but when it comes to streaming, it's a much different beast. Like I'm quite aware that when you're actually there, not only are you playing the game at the same time, but you're also interacting with an audience live. Like, okay, well, this is probably about a 30-second delay when it comes to things like Twitch and all that. Maybe it's a little less on some of the other streaming services. But yeah, no, it's so much different. When you record by yourself, you can take your time. If you just want to like sit up and like walk around for 20 minutes because you've been playing a game for like an hour or whatever, you can. Like me and Jax like to go get chicken nuggets because we're just like, wow, that was just too intense.
Chicken nuggets.
Yeah, man, it's a thing now.
I was a reward for finishing one of Gamma.
Yeah. You didn't even buy them, you made me buy them. But regardless of that, yeah, no, when it comes to the two separate, yeah, no, it's crazy different. It's crazy different because, yeah, no, it's live. It's something that you're trying to not only entertain yourself or put something out there, but at the same time, introduce, like, you know, finding new people, getting them to go to your Let's Play channel, everything, and that sort of works into, you know, promoting yourself more as well. If you're able to stream, you should stream because it will draw in crowds. Does anybody else have anything to add to that? Yeah, I think I'm pretty much the only guy on here that streams. So, I mean, you're usually with me, Jax.
Yes.
And like I stream my raid group and everything like that as well on Final 14. And though I don't interact as much, it's also good for, you know, other people as well to sort of see how we do Final Fantasy 14 and how awesome we are and not how much we screw up.
I got over there as high school.
Okay, yeah.
Can
What I do for tagging personally is just say I'm doing a series. What you can do is, though it's like, in how YouTube does it is you like type out a tag and then you put a comma and then it puts it in this weird like box form. I wish it was like the old way where you could just sort of do it. So what I usually do is I find all the things that are like always the same regardless of how many parts I do. So if I'm doing Undertale, obviously I'm going to put in, my moniker, so Winslet13, which is, like I spell it one way and then I'm like, all right, so now I have to think of how stupid some people may be at spelling my name. So I'm like, all right, so then I separated it, put a space, and what I do is I just go into a Word document and just type them all out and put little commas, and then you copy and paste that into the YouTube tag system area, and then all you have to do is put another comma at the end, and then it turns them all into tags, which is really, really helpful. Obviously, like when it comes to certain parts of certain Let's Plays, like just say you're facing off against a boss or something like that, you want to add, then that's when you just uniquely put the ones in. But yeah, no, like things like, my name, the Let's Play that I'm doing, and all that, like general tags for gaming and all that. YouTube's got a great system now as well that they introduced, I think maybe about just a little bit last year, is if you go into the advanced settings, you can actually list what game you're playing as well. And if people click on that, you can see who's live streaming, who's uploaded new videos, and it actually helps you with exposure a little bit just because they're seeing the new people that are coming in and doing it. I'm sorry, I actually forgot reducing room noise. Well, as much, like obviously you can't turn your fridge off, you can't turn, so you have sometimes, like I said, the air conditioner, you can turn it off, but after 15 minutes of, you yelling back and forth with one another, it gets pretty hot. Like I said, when it comes to constant room noise, so stuff like a fan or other things like that, it's actually relatively easy now to remove. Like Audacity has a noise removal setting, so you just go into I think it's like added effects or something like that at the top, and you select a piece of audio that has like the background noise, just the background, so no like controller clicking or you talking or anything like that. I usually record about 30 seconds worth of that. Highlight that and then just highlight the whole thing and get Audacity to remove the background noise. It's not like a professional fix because just say like the thing is really loud in the background, your voice will slowly get more and more distorted depending upon how loud the noise is to begin with. But like if you notice someone like Markiplier, for example, he puts himself in a sound booth. And you can sort of build like makeshift ones that I've seen a lot of people do, is you just sort of build like, if you're doing a lot of PC stuff, you can build sort of this little thing in front of your thing and you can talk directly into that, and then you can like shotgun mic a lot of your sound. And it will reduce because then nothing else is coming around from there. But I mean, unless you're like talking into a cardboard box, and it just becomes uncomfortable, especially when you're doing like an RPG and stuff like that, where you're sitting there for a long time, going through something. It's one of those things where the world is noisy, and that's just how you have to do it. And like the game, you should never say, well, I'll just drown it out by the game audio, because then that drowns you out as well.
Before we go on another question.
Oh, yes?
Yeah. So my friend Casey sent a message for everybody, so I'm going to play it back for everybody. This works.
Oh my God! Hello, Anime North. Hello, my beautiful. You're all so beautiful.
So just quickly before we get to your question, for sound, our favorite thing to do is sit awkwardly and stare at each other silently for 30 seconds. It's a really good method.
It really bonds us together.
Right? Let's practice. All right. Question over here.
Actually, I do audio editing for a podcast, and what I need to do is I use Audacity as well, and I use the noise removal tool. But what I found is that sometimes if you have it turned up so high, that you cut all the noise out, it really does distort the voices a lot.
Yeah.
So sometimes you can kind of push it a bit by not not having it turned up so high that it gets rid of the noise, just that it softens the noise, and it's not as noticeable.
So that's because the background music, so things like the background music of certain games will actually drown out a lot of the excess buzzing and all that type of stuff. Like some people with trained ears, like people will just hear it. Like you can't like automatically get like all completely removed, but at the same time, like he says, you know, like if you can reduce it enough that when you listen to it back, and you're just like, all I can hear is my voice, and then maybe when like there's a lull in the music or a lull in the sound effects, you realize, oh, there's a little bit there. But a lot of people are used to ambient noise as well, so it's not a big issue. It's really only if you have the mic like really close like this, and you're hearing go like that type of stuff, you know. So it's pretty much all I have about that.
Why don't you go first?
Something else that I found that works when you sometimes if you get that tinny sound from removing background noise, sometimes you can add a tiny, just like the smallest bit of bass, and it will like sort of drown that out. I wouldn't recommend using it all the time. I mean, if it's like, especially when I record group things on this isn't really meant as a group mic, but it's portable, so that's why I use it. So sometimes I'll add just a tiny bit, but usually after doing, the input's so low on this, and then we're compressing the audio, and you're gonna get some kind of tin just a little bit, so maybe sometimes just a little bit, but not too much. But yeah, you have something to that?
There's going to come a point in time also when you're recording that you're going to realize you probably need to invest some money in a mic, like a good mic. One suggestion is like a snowball if you want to spend minimal amounts of money, but get a really decent mic that will record interview style where it needs, you could get the omni effect or you could get a direct effect to you. Just learning small things like that, you're going to learn that you need to be a certain distance from your mic, because if you speak, or you'll have, I'm recording a video. Like, you have to learn to just speak properly from a mic.
We're gonna send a quick video to Casey. Can everybody say hi, Casey? Hi, Casey! Hi, Casey! Yay! Nobody knows who she is.
Good job, everyone.
Her channel is Brittle Plays.
Brittle Plays, yeah. Well, if anybody is interested in like watching our stuff, we'll like at the end of it we can write down some stuff for you guys. But all right, more questions. You in the back with the hat.
So in terms of commentary, like to keep things fresh, what do you guys do when it comes to dead space, like your finishing space, like in the game, like there's not much going on in the game at that time, what do you do to keep it?
Dead space, like obviously, like if I'm doing a co-op with someone, it's amazing how you really don't have dead space because you always have at least one person talking, and never feel like, in certain aspects, never feel like you have to fill it in. There are ways of getting around it, obviously. Like if a game is sort of boring in a sense, and you're doing like anonymous text, that's when I usually like, all right, I need to walk all the way back to the beginning of the game or whatever. I'm not, of course, going to show that. I'm just going to cut from that point to that point, and a lot of people do that. They sort of show highlights. I don't know if anybody's watched him, but his name is Afro Senju. He does like Naruto, Ninja Storm 4 stuff, and he, like, what he does is he sort of warms himself up, and he just starts rambling like half the time, and it's freaking hilarious. But at the same time, I've never really come across a time when I personally can't shut up. But
really?
I know, right?
What?
I know, right? But it's a skill, unfortunately, that I've sort of like gained over a while. Is you just sort of learn your audience, you learn how you sort of go about stuff. But like when I did Skyward Sword, there were certain times when I do need to concentrate because they have a time puzzle or I have to use the Wiimote in a specific way. And it sort of builds a little bit of tension for certain things too, like especially when story stuff is happening. I do the voice acting, but I try not to commentate too much over it because you're trying to find that perfect balance of what people are watching the video for, whether it's for you or the actual video itself. So never feel that dead silence is always like the worst possible thing that you can do. You can record in shorter volumes too, like 10, 15 minutes aids that quite a lot because you can take a break between them and sort of collect yourself and then start from that. Or if you know the game, you know what to comment on and what to do. Versus when you're experiencing something the first time, it is very difficult to sort of stay like on tune with everything.
Yeah, and like Winslow was saying, we're all kind of crazy. I mean, we speak to ourselves. I think I have a coworker here that knows that I'm pretty crazy at work. I speak to myself all the time. Just if you're having trouble with that, one thing that I started with for myself with my videos that are on the way, I put a little action figurine of myself. I mean, Hook. I just put him in front of me and I speak to him. That way, I'm still kind of. Yes, ladies. And you just gotta talk to yourself in a way, no matter what. And like you said, do voices. I mean, make the story fun. Make a little skit for yourself while you're doing it. Like for, as he said, for Papyrus. I see you're watching me.
My personal favorite, the King of all cosmos. Oh yes, it was our fault, but we're blaming you.
Yeah, things like that. And if you have a group of people, it's way easier because the Let's Play that's still coming out for us, Extreme Beach Volleyball 3, is is basically me just playing and him either making fun of me for not being able to beat his waifu in volleyball 3 times. Or psyching me up to do something, like I'll be in the park like, I don't know, do we want to gamble? He'd be like, dude, just spend the money, we have millions of dollars. Like, who cares? We'll buy the bikini later. Like, it's so much easier in a group to get psyched up and have fresh content, but if you're alone, the best thing I suggest is kind of just become a crazy person. It's easy.
It's so easy nowadays. Don't tell anyone.
I talk to myself. A little figurine of me.
All right, so we got any other questions? All right, guy in the end there.
You mentioned earlier about copyright. Have any of you had troubles with copyright?
Yes. Let me tell you a story.
Preface that these aren't all Let's Plays.
Well, okay, yes. Like the channels that I've lost it's kind of crazy. But when it's come to video game content, this is actually something that's been relatively new. So if for our actual Let's Play Up Dead or Alive Extreme 2, there was a song called, which I had no idea was in this game, called Brown Sugar. Yeah, an instant classic, like those types of things. So what I had to do is I had to go out and I had to mute it, and it seems to be coming more and more from like the actual music content, because the thing about copyright is it's so weird. Like it's so weirdly written, it's so undefined, and when things come to fair use and Let's Plays, you can argue saying that we're really just sort of playing the game, and a lot of like actual developers now, Nintendo excluded, really are totally fine with us uploading, especially indie developers. They just want the exposure, and if there's tons of people playing it, if it's trending, like imagine like Stardew Valley just came out a couple months ago, and it's a Harvest Moon clone, but holy crap, it's so good. And it took to Twitch, it took to YouTube by storm, because there were so many people playing it, and it's the same thing with Minecraft and all that type of stuff. They benefit from it. But at the same time, when it does come to copyright, it's really difficult to like figure out what is and what isn't. Like a big thing for me for a little while is it would be an opening cutscene to something. Like I played Hello Kitty Roller Rescue. It's a beautiful game for the GameCube, by the way, if you haven't played it yet. But the opening cutscene was played, and then I got a copyright notification from another game YouTuber that, like, because it was the same footage, because it was the opening scene, it doesn't change or alter because the character is moving. he gets acclaim on my video. And obviously when you're dealing with another YouTuber, a lot of things just quickly disappear if it's obviously just a big mistake. But when it comes to big companies, it is really difficult. Like EA is pretty bad about it. Bethesda is wonderful about it. Bungie is pretty good about it as well. You just sort of have to pick and choose your games. Like I said, Nintendo is actually a little bit behind the ball about it because they think any press is bad press unless they're the ones marketing it. So they just see it as like, well, why are people going to buy my game if they're just going to watch it? And you know what? A lot of people are doing that now, and I think I'm not saying that it's affecting the industry because it's not. But people are like, well, games are so expensive now, so the only thing I can do to experience certain games is to go on. And business execs are frightened of that type of stuff, unfortunately. But yeah, no, I've lost quite a lot, and I have about, I think, 2 strikes on my Let's Play channel now because they just decide that me playing a beach volleyball game that's like 10 years old is incredibly inconveniencing their copyright. And that's pretty much what you have to do. You just have to sort of deal with it until we get some serious things going on. Some actual cases go to court and they're actually pushed through. We really have absolutely it's the Wild West when it comes to it, in a sense.
Just a quick mention, there actually are some court cases that are going on. This isn't really game related, but H3 Productions currently has one. It's not even going to see court for a year, but it's kind of important because there needs to be a line, and there is no line currently. If it sounds like this, YouTube will take it down. And they're trying to fix the system, but there's so many people now that they really need a staff of people, and they need to hire a staff of people. That's their problem.
Well,
All the
if
support
you
is
really
online.
try to think about how many, if you really try to think about how many minutes of YouTube, seconds, every second, hours of content is going up on YouTube. Unfortunately, unless they have something in place that allows us to properly submit videos and all that, you can't just say, well, we'll just hire a bunch of people. You know what? You need to hire the planning for that type of stuff.
Not to hire people to watch each video, hire the people for claims.
Yeah. And I think they're going to be taking that in the right direction for what it sounds like. Unfortunately, like I said, with the Wild West right now, you just sort of upload and hope. And it's surprisingly, I get a strike on DOA, and I have a Star Fox Let's Play from 3 or 4 years ago, and Nintendo has yet to see it. And it almost has, on each video, it's about 1,000 views on each one. And you're like, well, this is odd. Why am I getting hit now, but old content isn't? So it's always weird when it comes to YouTube, and you just sort of, you gotta suck it up at the end of the day, because it's just part of the YouTube experience nowadays.
I've actually gotten 3 strikes across 2 channels of mine from copyrighted music inside of games that I was Let's Playing.
And see, the problem with that is that's 2 different copyrights. The game may not have any, the developer may not have a problem, but a lot of that music is, that's licensed to the game. And it's just the same idea as, a kid dancing to, I can't remember what that court case was, but he was dancing to a Prince song or something like that in the background. And they tried to sue this 7-second video of this baby just dancing to this music, and it's just weird because it's all automated. You can't really talk to anybody. Even now, if I, with my strikes and everything, when I send a counterclaim, it goes not to YouTube, it goes to the copyright holder or the person that has that music license. And surprisingly enough, a lot of those are third-party companies that are being out, that something like Paramount or other companies are just using as proxy servers just to sort of deal with all this trash. Like I said, so much gets uploaded to YouTube all the time. So when it comes to music, unfortunately, you gotta be aware of what's in the background of your videos, and the good thing is about video games in particular, most of the time they have options to either lower the background music or turn it off.
In my case, it's actually a music-based game, so I don't really have that option to turn the music down.
Yeah.
It's part of the game itself.
Yeah, I think that's why if you just sort of pay attention to some of the bigger guys, they stay away from those types of things. They stay away from the games in Rock Band and all that, which sucks because it's crazy how amazing some people are at Rock Band.
There is something to add on to that. When we played Project Diva, the Miku game, I got a. It wasn't a strike or a video to get removed, but it was a one of those ones where they just take the ad revenue. Games like that have the music in it and it's for the same property. For like example, that game, it's a rhythm game with that music, or I guess there's other ones like Proper the Rapper and stuff that have their own music. You'll still probably get a claim, but they won't take your video down. They'll just take any money you try to make off of it, essentially. The new system they're actually doing is when a claim's put in, the money's put somewhere else. And until the claim is decided, whoever wins that side of the claim in YouTube's eyes, whatever, gets the money that was held there. Instead of the way it was before is if somebody claims your video and say this is your livelihood, which it's none of it for us, but like there are people who it is their livelihood, all the money they were making at that point was going to the people who made the claim. So, and they don't get any money until it's decided. I mean, money's not a big deal for us. Like, we all have our own jobs, and we're not popular enough to make it our own jobs. But it's one of those things where, like, a lot of the times the companies just be like, we just want the ad revenue from this. We don't care if you're playing a game, but we want money. So that's another way that it'll work too. But yeah, that's just another example of that. Like stuff like Rock Band's kind of hard because everything's licensed there. Tony Hawk. I wanted to play a Tony Hawk game for so long, but you have to turn the music off, and I don't want to turn the music off, so it's a double-edged sword.
All right, I guess we'll take another question. All right, yeah, you over there in the front.
More to add on to what he just said, I came across someone that in position where he was talking about if you think there's going to be like for him it's specifically ad revenue because that channel does not run ads at all. So when someone says they either want to run ads in order to get some kind of revenue anyway, he'll put in footage from other properties so that he'll get like a copyright claim from Nintendo and Sega and EA. So they're not strikes because he's doing a much more journalistic kind of show than a Let's Play.
Yeah.
But it means that it becomes a deadlock of the ad revenue never gets put up because it can't be split between those three.
Yeah, are you talking about Jimquisition?
Exactly.
Yes, yeah, Jimquisition was it was to sort of prove how broken the copyright system is with YouTube. Like as a debate, it's never like perfect or great, and it's going to take a lot of finessing because the biggest channels on YouTube right now are gaming channels. You know, like it's like there's slice of life channels that have 3 million views, but then you have your Markipliers, you have your PewDiePies, you know? And obviously when you get that big, the companies just don't ignore you anymore. They're like, oh, well, how about you work with us and all that. But it kind of sucks for us little guys that are just sort of like, well, they'll just take our livelihood if we're running off of it. And like, I mean, I have YouTube partnership, but I mean, it's only like 20 cents or whatever a month or something crazy, amazing, like flowing in cash. But at the same time, like eventually, like if my channel does take off, you know, like am I going to have to look at it and say, well, there I have 2 strikes on it, half of my videos are like monetized by other people, and it kind of sucks. But I mean, screwing with the system is fun, but it doesn't really solve the problem. So when, like we said, like the very first thing is you're doing Let's Plays for fun. You're doing them as a hobby, as you know, a way of you and your friends getting together for like specific things. And at the end of the day, yeah, if it's not your livelihood, like the 3 of us here, like we just say, screw it. All right, you can just monetize, whatever. It just sucks for your channel, like later on down the line. All right. Yep. You got that? Yeah.
What would you say is a decent amount of videos to upload on a regular basis?
Like it seems that like when it comes to like if you think of the Game Grumps, like obviously they're making revenue off their games, so they do it twice a day. They know they have the audience to watch 20 minutes worth of footage or whatever. Sometimes they even up like 4 or something like that. For like you as someone starting out, oversaturation, especially when it comes to like multiple parts and stuff like that, I personally believe it's it's better to do maybe 5 videos a week at first, because like I was saying earlier, it's very time consuming. And you may start to get very run down and stressed because you're always doing videos like 7 days a week. Like for someone like Zero, like he gets his groups of friends together and then they just play like 4 or 5 hour sessions, and he has a ton of content to just slowly edit and put out. So it's usually 1 to 2 videos a day. Like I said, I usually like to do 5, and I usually take either the weekends as a break from editing or to catch up on whatever. Like I said, I'm playing Undertale right now. I usually use the weekends to play Undertale, and then during the week I get to upload and sort of have my break while I'm working at my actual job, right?
I got something to add to that too. With the whole social media integration too, you don't want to do too many at once. Like I have a rule, I won't, once I post the video, I'm not going to promote another video for another 6 hours. The reason I do that is because if you pump 2 videos out super quick, nobody's gonna see the first one, they're only gonna see the second one, and they might not see the second one until way later. I post 2 Let's Play videos a day, on top of whatever other videos, but I'm not editing all of them. I actually have help. My editor's front row there. Thanks, Monday. And I don't go over 15 minutes for the most part. But yeah, he's right. When I'm doing power plays, I'm doing a session, and we're doing like 2 hours, an hour to 2 hours of a recording session at once, and then that gets split up because then we'll have like cues to put them in and stuff like that. Like for me, like the start of an episode is welcome back to Power Plays, or next time on Power Plays, and that's how I do my cues for it. And then sometimes there'll be like a visual cue for timing. When it's really up to what you want to do. I'd say when you're starting, 1 day is fine. Especially, and something I should mention, as we mentioned, start your social media right away. I waited, and I could have had way more followers on Facebook and Twitter and all those to promote to. I waited until like 3 years after I started doing it, and if you start right away, and then you tell people you've got a Facebook and a Twitter, when they subscribe to you, they will also go to those and go to you on there because they want to follow what you're doing if they like you. Because I have like over 2,000 YouTube subscribers, but only 250 something likes on Facebook. So I don't have a big audience there, but I still promote my videos. I release them 6 hours apart at least, just so one video gets to play, and then when people know later on in the day, I'll have another video coming in. So kind of have a schedule. When you're starting off, you don't really need a schedule. Just post when you feel like it, man. You're just having fun.
Yeah, if you're gonna try to make a schedule, just if you make a schedule, try to stick to it as much as you can. Because the moment that you mention like, hey guys, I'm gonna post a video every week, and then you suddenly don't post a video for 2 months, people kind of start to just say, well, they lied every time.
And it's not even that. It's like they're subscribed to so many people at this point.
Exactly.
Then it's like, well, you get drowned out, and then they're like, why am I subscribed to this person again? And then they just unsubscribe from you, or you just get completely drowned out by like 100 different other things. Like I think I'm subscribed to like 60, 70 people now. Trying to keep up with it. Yeah, it's like it's crazy. You know, you realize that you can disappear if you don't have sort of a set thing.
Yeah, and a good way to keep a schedule, the way we do it is I live down the road from Winslet. I have so many names for you. So what we do is I'll just be like, hey, let's get some chicken nuggets. And then we'll sit down and be like, let's play a game. And suddenly we play a game or 3, and we do a bunch of recordings. And what he'll do is he'll release them on a schedule instead of just releasing them right away. So this way you have content to release later on, and that way you can keep yourself to a schedule while still having fun playing the games.
When I do power plays, when I schedule, because I have different people on, when I go visit him, because he lives in Ottawa and I live in Peterborough, I can't do a recording session with him all the time. It's like one weekend out of like 1 or 2 weekends a year. So we record a lot of stuff in that weekend. Like we're doing 2-3 day sessions of just recording. When I'm recording, say with Casey, she lives near me, so every other weekend I'm either going to her place or going to mine. We'll do like maybe 6 hours. That's 6 hours of stuff I had to post. My backlog at one point was like, I was posting videos from January and like July. So my backlog was very big. But now it's getting smaller, so that's more videos to record here fairly soon.
Yeah, I think we have like 3 minutes left. So does anybody have a very small question that we can probably get out of the way? All right.
Hey, Zeromaster, how'd you get to do Dark Souls 3?
Is that? Oh gosh.
What's a Dark Souls?
All right, it's you just had your hand up real quick.
Yeah, it's just like a very quick thing. Kind of depends on the plan at a time. What's your stance on the face cam versus no face cam?
I'm a no face cam guy because I believe when it comes to Let's Playing, the game is the most important thing.
It depends on you. So one thing I'm going to say is I 100% agree with what Winslet said. If you're going to do a Let's Play, people are probably focusing more on the game than you. Now, Markiplier has a funny face. Like, a lot of people have great reactions, but the thing is, you have to realize reactions are really saturated. Like, really, really saturated. So if you really want to have that face cam, one good way to do it would be have your face to introduce, go to the game, take it away, keep talking, have your face for an outro.
I'll make this quick because we gotta get out of here. I don't do face cam at all. However, there's been a request for, I've got a new show called Guest Play starting where I'm actually gonna have members of a band on our show, and they requested face cam for one of the videos, so we're gonna see how that works. I don't really care for it, but I mean, if it makes it more interactive, it makes it more fun for you, then I'd say do it. Just don't look like a trash lord when you're doing it.
Yeah, no trash.
And that's gonna be the panel, I guess. Thanks for coming out, guys.
We appreciate you. Thank you.
We'll be outside after the venue and
Yeah.
ask any questions.
Just walk by. It's great. Yes. Oh, sorry.